Good morning. Welcome back to 78 Reflections. My name is Patty Elaine, and I'm very happy to be here with you this morning for another Wobble Reading. If you're not familiar with Wobble Readings, and if you would like to learn more, I will link a couple of videos in the description, one that I made, and another one from Esther from the Mindful Tarot. This spread is her creation, and it is inspired by the Chariot card. So with that being said, we're going to jump right in. And the first card that I pull is answering the question of what energy is showing up for me today. The Two of Swords. Well, the Two of Swords has come up pretty recently in the middle position from the other deck. And today it's showing up from the Shadowland Tarot. The Two of Swords for me is usually about indecision. And it could be a time when there's a lot of noise. And so I always take the Two of Swords as a message to be still, quiet, go inward, trust your inner knowing. And in this deck, the image shows a vampire in a raccoon fur coat with his arms crossed. And in the video earlier when I talked about the Two of Swords, I said in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, in that depiction, the woman usually has her arms crossed. And I always think of her protecting her heart in that position. So this is showing up here in this image as well. He is blindfolded and standing under a waxing crescent moon, which acts as a symbolic reminder that there will be an increase in activity soon. It's a really interesting way to think of the waxing crescent moon. I never thought about it from that vantage point before. The blindfold is his way of attaining objectivity and allows him to think without external input or distraction. So the question for the card on the other side is, what energy is competing with the Two of Swords for me today? And we have an adorable looking Justice card. So the Justice card is in Major Arcana, so it represents a major life lesson. It is the 11 card in the trajectory, or if you reduce it down for the purposes of numerology, 1 + 1 is 2. It's 2 cards, so we have a Two of Swords and then 2 for the Justice card. When I think of the Justice card, I think of karma. I think of consequences for actions. In Lisa Papez's book on unlocking the tarot, she talks about the law of physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And I think that's a really great way of thinking of the Justice card. In this image, we have a tree. The tree is wise and knows that all things must be considered when weighing an equitable outcome. She listens to the wise counsel of the owl and draws on deep roots of wisdom while weighing the 2 nests. One nest represents potential, that's the unhatched eggs, and the other represents the current situation, and that's the bird. So when I think of these cards as competing energies, I think of a couple of things come to mind for me. The Two of Swords, stillness, versus justice. I think that is more of an action. The Two of Swords is reflection, intuition, inner knowing, whereas the Justice card is decisive action, rationality, external logic. I also think the Two of Swords could represent avoidance. So the blindfold is blocking out any distractions. Whereas the Justice card is more about accountability and facing things head on. And I can see that how the energy is showing up for me. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog eating, but he has to eat at the most inopportune time today. How this energy is showing up for me today is being torn between waiting for clarity and taking action. So what is a really good question that can help me navigate these competing energies? Temperance. Of course, temperance, because temperance invites balance. Temperance is an alchemy card. It's the middle path, and it encourages blending rather than choosing. And in this card from the Wild Unknown, we see the great blue heron, and she remains calm and peaceful as she blends the opposing elements of fire and water. And the Temperance card is focused on cooperation and compromise as opposed to choosing. And I think that that is a really powerful message for me, as I do feel like I'm really struggling to find balance right now. The balance between looking on the Justice card of, all that I have going on right now in the present versus these eggs, the beautiful potential of the future, and striving to consider internally what my intuition is telling me, and externally the practical and pragmatic side of it. So these cards definitely resonated with me today. I would love to hear if they've resonated with you. And thank you for joining me for a Wobble reading. And please, if you like this video, please like it. Provide a comment in the comment section. And if you're interested in hearing more from me, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in our next Wobble reading.